Every single time you stream a movie, use an app, or mess around with AI, there's this gigantic, invisible world of energy humming away in the background. Today, we're going to dig into how one company is gearing up to power that next wave of tech. And trust me, the numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. So, what really powers the AI revolution? It feels like a simple question, right? But the answer is completely changing our energy landscape. See, this whole revolution isn't just running on smart code and algorithms. It's running on massive, raw amounts of electricity. And the demand for that power, it's just exploding. Just how much is it exploding? Well, for some regions, we're looking at a projected 50% increase in electricity demand by 2031. Now, that's not a typo. That kind of surge is staggering, and it's all happening incredibly fast. All right, so where is all this historic demand coming from? The answer isn't what you'd probably guess. It's being driven by a totally new kind of customer, one that's reshaping our energy needs at a wild pace. This isn't about millions of new homes plugging in their coffee makers. No. This incredible growth is coming from just a handful of absolutely colossal customers. The massive data centers that are basically the backbone of our entire digital lives. And look, this isn't some far-off theory. We're talking about real buildings from the biggest names in tech. Right in Alliant Energy's territory, you've got Google building massive new facilities in Cedar Rapids, Meta setting up shop in Beaver Dam, and the data center specialist QTS popping up in multiple spots across Iowa. Let's try to put a number on this. These projects add up to 3 gigawatts of new, contractually secured demand. Now, to give you some scale, that's roughly the same power output as 3 large nuclear power plants, all dedicated almost entirely to data. And the best part, it's all locked in with long-term deals. Okay, so you can't just, flip a switch and magically meet that kind of demand. To build for a future this intense, Alliant Energy has to be working from a really strong foundation today. Just take a look at this chart. It tells a really important story of consistency. That steady climb represents a 6.3% compound annual growth rate in earnings over a decade. This isn't a company that's scrambling. It's one with a solid track record, which is absolutely crucial for what they're planning next. And if we zoom in on their recent performance, ongoing earnings per share, which is really just a key way to measure profitability, it climbed from 304 to 322. That's exactly the kind of steady, year-over-year progress you need to build a foundation for a huge investment like this. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The company's president and CEO, Lisa Barton, she put it perfectly. They're executing their plans while at the same time investing to meet this incredible new customer demand head-on. So, the big question, how exactly are they going to handle this tidal wave of demand? Well, the answer is in their blueprint for the next 4 years. A truly massive capital investment plan. The number itself is almost hard to comprehend, $13.4 billion. That is the sheer scale of commitment it takes to build the energy infrastructure that our data revolution needs. So where is all that cash going? Well, the plan shows a really smart, balanced approach. A big chunk, 37%, is going to new renewables and energy storage. But to make sure the lights always stay on, 31% is for natural gas generation. The last 32%, that's for critical upgrades to the grid itself. It's really a 3-pronged strategy for a stronger, more resilient system. And you've got to remember, this isn't just happening in a spreadsheet somewhere. These are multi-billion-dollar investments happening on the ground, creating jobs, and building real infrastructure in communities all across Iowa and Wisconsin. At the end of the day, a plan like this is about so much more than just capital. To actually build a flexible and diverse energy portfolio for the future, it takes the hands-on effort of thousands of skilled workers out there on the ground. Okay, so we've got this massive $13.4 billion investment. It's huge. But that brings us to the most important question of all, right? The so what? What does this actually mean for customers, for communities, and for the future of our power grid? The whole strategy is designed for what they call a 3-way win. Goal number 1, keep energy rates affordable for everybody. Goal number 2, make sure the grid is reliable and resilient so the power always stays on. And goal number 3, use this moment to fuel long-term economic growth for the whole region. And this right here is the key takeaway, and it might sound a little counterintuitive at first. How does adding a few massive energy users actually help keep your bill down? Well, think of it this way. The fixed costs of running the entire power grid can now be spread out over a much, much bigger customer base. These huge data centers help shoulder more of that cost, and that helps drive affordability for everyone else. All of this leaves us with a really critical question to think about. The demand for data and AI, it's not slowing down. It's speeding up. And as our digital world asks for more and more power, the challenge of how we build a grid that's affordable, reliable, and sustainable, well, that's becoming one of the most important questions of our time.